Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR My Driver Career Mode here on iRacing for the season finale of the Chapter 2 Prologue. Before we move into the full swing of things in the Cup Series, we finally made it to the end of the Xfinity Series, but it kicks off today's episode with the Subscriber Legends Model Series, or Elite Model Series here, as they were doing 15 laps around the short track here. And Jason Smith, he had pretty much clinched the championship coming into this race, and fortunately for him, he pretty much ran top 5 all race long, so he didn't have any worries whatsoever here in terms of if he's going to win the championship or not. So he would sure enough be able to hang on to second place for the majority of this race. We come straight through to the final lap, and it was Pinkerton actually out in front here on the exit of turn 2 as they go down this back straightaway. You can see Smith there trying to make a look up the inside, never could really make anything work. The dominant line being this lane right up towards the outside wall, and it's going to be Pinkerton getting the victory over Smith and Jawa as they come through to cross the line, and Jason Smith wins the Late Model Subscriber Series Championship, and he will advance into the Truck Series next season here, which is going to be very exciting to see what he's able to do on the grid for the Truck Series now, as he's the second one to ever move up. As we jump through into the Truck Series here for the season finale, Ben Rhodes, he won the race, but it was Joey Stone who went winless all season long, but consistency would get him the championship, other than having consistency here in Phoenix, because he actually finished outside of the top 10, finished in the mid-teens. But Joey Stone would win the championship here, a content creator actually there, and that goes to show without the playoff system, you don't always have to be winning races there, as he actually wins by 12 points. Travis Brown up there in the top 5, so expect to see Stone move up into Xfinity, and maybe even Travis Brown as well as Davin Cornelius, maybe Michael Roots. We'll see. There's going to be a few drivers moving up and a few drivers staying back here, just to kind of spread things out here across the rosters. So we come through though into the Xfinity Series. For myself, we're not in contention for the championship, but we do have a chance to finish maybe top 5 here as we get a qualifying lap underway. As you guys know, myself and Jay Cook are fighting each other for that final ride available at Colleague next season in the Cup Series to be alongside Justin Haley, and we're hopeful to beat Jay in points and get that ride here as we came through to have a decent qualifying lap. My first lap was solid, second lap actually screwed it up, so we qualify P6 here, as we of course have the Championship 3 that we're focused on, and that is Sheldon Creed, who leads the points by 8 points over Harrison Burton and 9 points over Austin Cindric. So 9 points separate the top 3 drivers. Who's going to win it all? My guess would be Sheldon Creed. He's been consistent all season long. He's won races. He's just been the best between Harrison Burton as well as Austin Cindric. Harrison Burton, he hasn't even won, so we'll see what happens here now as the pace car pulls off out of turn 2, and the AI actually like to go at Phoenix on the other side of the track of the front straightaway, so it's really weird with restarts here, but nonetheless we got 60 laps to settle out a championship. I'm just trying to get my 5th win on the season in the final race and prove that I am worthy of a Cup Series ride next season. Sheldon Creed, he's won 2 truck championships, including the last season when he had to fight off myself in the Final Four. We don't have no Final Four scenario this season, so Creed already doing exactly what he needs to be doing, running P3, now continuing to expand his points lead over both Harrison Burton as well as Austin Cindric. Burton actually behind me. It was not a good qualifying effort there for the Toyota driver, Joe Gibbs driver of Harrison Burton, who actually has a deal to move up into the Cup Series next season, even with the next-gen car delayed and stuff. Harrison Burton, he is going to be moving up to the Cup Series next season, no matter if he wins the championship or not here today, and same for Austin Cindric, as they will both be moving into Ford Mustangs. So Cindric is going to be going into a 4th Penske car, not a 3rd one, because Keselowski remains at Penske at least for next season until next gen AI becomes available in iRacing. Then Keselowski is going to shift over to that Roush Fenway team, and it will rebrand, of course. So Cindric will run the number 33 full time for Penske Racing next season. Harrison Burton is going to drive the 21 next season, just like he does in real life. Matty Benedetto out, and Sheldon Creed, the guy who's leading the standings, we don't actually know his future yet, but there is an off-season video coming after this one in a few days, and there is some rumors that RCR could be expanding to a 3rd team, so we'll stay tuned on that. Nonetheless, though, it was our teammate of AJ Allmendinger out front leading the way over 2nd place of Michael Cozy Jr., another driver I expect to see moving up next season as well. There's a lot of available movements into the Cup Series from Xfinity next season, because not only do we have maybe a driver or 2 retiring, maybe not 100% sure on that yet, but we do have some room for teams to expand, multiple cars and new teams to come in, but I wouldn't expect to see any new teams as soon as next season, but the season after, when hopefully next gen AI is available. I'm waiting for that to be able to really expand our career mode roster, with the teams expanding to new teams and stuff. But we might see some teams like RCR add a car, same for Penske, that will confirm move up to a 4-car team, so stay tuned on that. But stage 1 had been wrapping up here at the conclusion of lap 10. Sheldon Creed had been comfortably ahead of Cindric and Harrison Burton all stage long. He gets P4s. I actually had a car that was rolling pretty good here on the longer run. When I say longer run, after 8 or 9 laps, this thing was actually really kicking in. So we all come to the pit lane, though. Everybody comes in, and there was a lot of confusion. I actually thought I was running into the 11 pit box, but I remembered I'm car number 10. But I actually drove into the back of Josh Berry and picked up 12 seconds of damage there. So we had to sit in the pit lane for, of course, an extra 12 seconds or so, repair the damage, and that costed us some tremendous track position actually here. So that put us quite a ways behind going into the start of now this second of 3 stages here, as Allmendinger, Cozy, Josh Berry, Creed, and Jay Cook, the top 5. And we're doing everything we can today to try and beat Jay Cook on points, to prove that we deserve that Kaulig Cup car over Jay next season in the Cup Series. It's no secret that Jay and I have had a rivalry, especially after we had our run-in at Watkins Glen, and we've had a couple of run-ins after that there, so it might continue over into tonight. We'll see. We're going to race them as clean as we can, as Allmendinger, though, leads the way for the start of stage 2. There you see Creed continuing to lead over Cindric and Burton, but Harrison Burton, he's made up some track position here going into the start of stage 2, so we'll see if maybe that track position can help him get going in the right direction. But Creed just powers by the outside of the 99 of Michael Cozy Jr. and moves up the position there and gets clear down into turn 3. And there you see Cindric on the top, Burton on the inside in that preferred lane here in Martinsville, as Josh Berry passes AJ Allmendinger. He goes to the lead. Jay Cook trying to get up into the mix as well here now, as we are well outside currently of the top 10. I wasn't too concerned here. A lot of racing left to go, over 45 laps to go, or 45 exact laps to go actually there is. So I wasn't too concerned, and I didn't know if the AI were planning to pit at the end of stage 2 or not, so I wasn't abusing my tires too much. I was taking my time working my way through, because I found in the final 2-3 laps of stage 1 we have definitely better speed when the tires start to wear a little bit. I felt like I was doing a tremendous job of saving my tires in stage 1, so we're going to try and repeat that here in stage 2 and really focus on setting ourselves up for a really strong stage 3. But if the AI pit, that plan gets wiped away, and we don't know, of course, if they're going to pit until this stage 2 comes to a conclusion here in just a few laps time. At this point, we really didn't make up a lot of ground here in stage 2. I go 3 wide here up the inside of that number 31 Chevrolet Camaro, driven by Sage Karam, as well as Daniel Hamrick on the outside, so we would get past them no problem. We get to the back of the JRM driver of Noah Gragson. A bit of a subpar season for Gragson, the driver that we probably see to expect to see move up into the Cup Series at some point here in the future as well in this My Driver career mode, but maybe not next season, considering how rough of a season he has had here now, as we would get past, though, the 98 of Riley Herbst there in that Monster Energy Ford Mustang for Stuart Haas Racing, and we just continue slowly moving our way forwards. A handful of laps to go in the second stage at this point, and now we were up the inside of that number 9, driven by Noah Gragson here down the backstretch into turn 3. So that would put us into 14th place once we would complete the pass on him. As you can see, just in front, you got Brandon Brown, you got Sam Mayer having a bit of a rough night, Jeremy Clements up there in the mix as well, as we continue on just slow charge forward here. I wasn't even pushing the car, and that's where my confidence is building at this point, is I know I'm not pushing whatsoever, trying to save my tires, and here we are gaining positions after positions here relatively easily as well here now, as we, though, come towards the end of this second stage here now, lap 27 approaching lap 28, and Josh Berry, he was continuing to lead over Jay Cook here as they would come through now to cross the line there. Sheldon Creed again in 4th, and multiple cars in between him and his 2 championship threats of Cindric as well as Harrison Burton, so they're going to need to try and maybe throw a bit of a curveball at Sheldon Creed, Cindric, and Burton. Are they going to have to do something different than Sheldon Creed? And that would start right here. Harrison Burton, Austin Cindric lead the field onto the pit lane as Sheldon Creed remains on the track at the conclusion of stage 2. Burton out by 8 points, Cindric by 9. Well, they've thrown a curveball at Sheldon Creed. They've pitted. They had to do something different because Creed has been in control comfortably of this championship all race long. I had a bit of a hiccup there getting in my pit box, so I lost a little bit of track position, as you can notice. But now Sheldon Creed is out on older tires. Burton and Cindric have new tires, but there was another curveball. Cindric had a really bad pit stop. I actually beat Austin Cindric out of the pit lane, and he was multiple rows behind us as we would get back underway. So all of a sudden now it looks like it's going to be a race between Harrison Burton and Sheldon Creed, but Burton needs to beat Creed by 8 spots just to tie, and 9 spots to win the championship. We'll see what happens here now as Harrison is already past the number 2 of Creed as they go down into turn 1 on the restart. Now things are starting to ramp up here. The real championship battle is on. Has RCR and Sheldon Creed made a huge mistake right here as we come through at a turn 2 side by side with the 51. We're going to go 3 wide down into turn 3 with our teammate of Landon Castle, the 51 of Jeremy Clements. Nearly some contact actually with Castle there and that number 4 Camaro, but fortunately we keep it clean. Now Allgaier on the outside 3 by 3 here as I'm going to dive all the way down, cut that dog leg, and come back on track. And we're just about 4 wide with Mayor, Riley Herbst, as well as Sheldon Creed, the championship leader. He's falling down the order. Burton moving forward. Sheldon Creed's having a nightmare right now. This is the worst case scenario for that RCR team and driver. As you can see, Cindric way in the background. It's not looking good for him at this point, especially when Harrison Burton is driving away. So I got Allgaier as well as Allmendinger just behind us here as we're now going to get past the 2 of Sheldon Creed. It's not looking very good for him here in these closing laps as we continue on our way forward. Josh Berry was leading over Michael Cozy Jr. and now Harrison Burton, who had gotten up into 3rd place, and Creed is now falling outside of the top 10 here very, very quick as I'm all over the back there with my teammate of Jay Cook as I'm going to try and lunge one up the inside 3 wide down into turn 3. A little bit of contact just about. We move each other up the track, but we keep it clean here with Cook fighting as well with him. There's another fight between myself and Jay going on other than the championship fight. I want to beat Jay in points, but we need to beat it by a handful of positions to pull that off and prove that we deserve that Open Cup ride at Colleague Racing next season here, side by side with Cook. Now a few moments later, we're going to get past him with help of Cozy kind of holding him up here as we go down into turn 3, right on the back bumper of Cozy. We would get past him as well. But Harrison Burton was now putting pressure on Josh Berry, and he would pass him for the lead with 25 laps to go in this race as Sheldon Creed is fallen down to about the 20th position. Cindric's still behind him, but now with this huge pit strategy error by RCR, Sheldon Creed, Harrison Burton is currently the championship leader in these closing laps. He hasn't won all season long from my memory, and here he is now looking at a championship here as I'm, of course, continuing to move my way forward. So I actually got to the back of Riley Herbst. I gave him the bumper. I said, I don't really feel like racing you, so get out of my way, and I'm going to continue. And we move up into P3. We got past Josh Berry as well, and that number 1 car, and up into 3rd place we go. Our teammate of Landon Castle was up there in 2nd place, but I was quickly running these guys down here. And now, as there wasn't a whole lot of tire conservation going on at this time in the race here in these closing laps, but we were making some good time, still over 2 seconds behind the leader of Harrison Burton. But I was really comfortable with knowing how good I have been tonight, specifically in this race with saving my tires, that I would probably actually be able to beat Harrison Burton, and that gap would come down to 1.6 seconds here with 14 laps to go. We're continuing to close in. Creed, who had fallen down to about 20th place, was still struggling heavily, but he was on the move back forward, surprisingly. So Creed, who had fallen all the way down to the bottom half of the pack, is actually moving his way back forward. So this championship fight isn't over yet. Myself and Castle, we're closing in on Harrison Burton, but myself way faster than Castle is because I'm going to go up the inside of Landon here into turn 3. We move up into 2nd place here in these closing 10, now coming to 9 laps to go. Creed, you see on the board up there on the top, he's up to 14th place. There he is. A live look at Sheldon Creed, who's closing in on 13th and 12th of Gibbs and Daniel Hamrick, who of course are teammates to Harrison Burton, so they're not going to make it easy on Sheldon Creed. But now the gap has been minimized between Creed and Burton, and now we're down to just a few points separating these two drivers. I believe by the live timing, 5 points separate them, but in favor of Harrison Burton. And here I am now closing in on the back of Harrison Burton here with 7 laps to go, and we clearly have better pace than he does. You can see how quick I get out of the exit of turn 2 compared to him. We're going to be right on his back bumper, nearly into his back bumper here into turn 3, and I'm just going to try and swing around the outside. I know he's fighting for a championship, but I don't care. At this point, I'm going to keep it respectful and clean, though. I'm not going to put him at any risk of getting taken out for this championship, so I'm going to give him the space that he needs. He sends one back up the inside here into turn 1. We're looking for win number 5 on the season. We're out of championship contention because of such a poor start to the season, unfortunately, but we clear Harrison Burton. He falls down to 2nd. I believe the math says 4 points in favor of Harrison Burton right now over Sheldon Creed. Cindric out of the mix at this point. Things are not looking good for him, and I was cruising to victory at this point here now. as I got to nearly 2 seconds ahead, and then unfortunately the gap kind of stopped right there, and I was starting to wear my tire a little bit too much, and now Harrison really wasn't losing anything as he actually closed it down to about 1.1 seconds here in these closing laps of this race. But now approaching the final lap here from Phoenix Raceway, and Sheldon Creed got up to 14th and he got stuck. He could not get any further than where he was behind Ty Gibbs as well as Daniel Hemrick, who are teammates to Harrison Burton. So we knew they were going to make it difficult on Sheldon, who made a huge error with pit strategy today, and it is going to cost him dearly. He won the Truck Series Championship last season. He was on track to win the Xfinity season, or the Xfinity Series Championship here in his rookie season, but is going to have to wait now because we come through to win for the 5th time this season. But Harrison Burton steals the championship in the closing moments of this race, and he will finish 2nd place and win by just 4 points over Sheldon Creed in that number 2 car. Cindric exits turn 4, crosses the line in front of Creed as well, but Sheldon Creed has to be heartbroken here in these closing moments of this race, as he did get Hemrick in these closing laps there, finished actually P13 as we would do our celebratory burnout, and Harrison Burton is now an Xfinity Series champion before moving up into the Cup Series in that Wood Brothers number 21 Ford Mustang next season. Heartbreak for Sheldon Creed there, who comes up just short as we get to actually pull into victory lane here at Phoenix Raceway. Very cool. But there you see the finishing order, but we really honestly don't care about the finishing order. We just want to see what is the point situation. Did I beat Jay Cook on points, or did Jay Cook beat me? Well, we tied. That was not what we expected to see. So Colleague is given a hard decision. Burton wins by 4 points over Creed, 8 points over Cindric, and myself and Jay Cook over the whole course of the season end up tying, putting Colleague in a tough spot, and we'll see what their decision is in the off-season video between myself and Cook. But that put me in a spot where I had to start looking for other Cup options immediately here, so we'll see what happens. A quick recap here of the Cup Series. It was Kyle Busch who would come through to win in Phoenix, but it was Kyle Larson in 2nd place and actually won his 2nd straight Cup Series championship here, simply based off consistency over the course of this season. Kyle Larson now a 2-time Cup Series champion. David Schildhouse here with a strong finish, as well as Rick Ware Racing continues to improve leading into this next season here. Generation 6 Cup cars do remain for one more season, and in the next video we will go over all of the off-season news. There's some driver transfer moves that we will talk about, as well as some team expansions, but no new teams until we get to the next gen AI portion of this My Driver career mode. But after the off-season video, we're not jumping straight into the Daytona 500. We're actually going to try and do all of the duels and the kind of prelude to the 500 here. So that is going to be very exciting, and the Clash as well, where if we're in the Cup Series next season, if we find a ride, we might actually be eligible to be in the Clash due to NASCAR highly marketing where they're going to be racing and trying to get all teams involved, not just the normal Clash format where the only pole winners and playoff drivers get in, etc. So we'll see what happens. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. What a season it was. Unfortunately, we tied with Cook, so it's going to be interesting to see where Colleague goes, and you'll find out in the next episode. But that does it for me. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.